Good morning to all of you. To me, success has never been tangible or any tangible, or not even a defined goal. I've always stuck to milestones because just like in any other business, you must have some milestones so that your teams stay focused. And my job was to constantly celebrate those small milestones that we reached so that we keep the team motivated. I started my media company in 1999, and I was the first woman in Indian media to have started her own organization in 1999. And I had to learn the ropes from men, which is not such a bad idea, because it actually taught me to go against the grain, go against my basic instincts. You know, the basic instincts that women have is compassion and collaboration, but that was not the definition of leadership in general in those days. The definition of leadership was power wielding, aggressiveness, etc. So when I learned from the men, I learned to be aggressive and power wielding. And of course, you know, as in any other place, when you're the only women, there is a lot of talk. So I started getting to be known as a very aggressive woman in media, which was okay. I didn't care because I had to do what I wanted to do. But what I learned through this process, that life should be treated like a game. Unless you treat it like a game, you will not enjoy the process. And it just doesn't open you up to new ideas, but it also enlightens you. You know, every time there is a down, there is a lot of learning. In fact, a lot of my learnings have come during the most difficult periods of my business. Being in the media, as you know, we have to deal with very thin-skinned politicians, and from both sides, from the ruling and the opposition party. And if you're, like in my company, we had a very, very clear charter which said that you must cover all angles of news, but at least 2 opposing viewpoints. So our job was to give facts to the people who would make their own decisions. We would not editorialize or give our opinions. Now, this is where the problem was. It affected most people from both sides, and we were attacked by all. And we had to deal and fight with them. So anyway, the biggest learning from all this was don't shy away from going against your grain. You must do what you have to do at that point, whatever is required. But as a person, when I look back, you know, they say in hindsight, things are very clear. Whether I should have, today I am not the same person. I've changed over the years. And for me, personal growth is most important. And I always talk to people I love and people I know and ask them, am I a different person? Am I a better person today than I was? And if the answer is yes, that's great success for me. Thank you.
Thank you. How do you connect, whether it's for purposes of getting people to buy into your vision or to build a team?
Okay. As an entrepreneur, one of the main objectives of an entrepreneur would be to find good team leaders for their teams. And that's precisely what I spent most of my formative years doing, is to look for good team leaders for my teams. When I looked for people, I really didn't look for big degrees from large institutes, but mostly attitude, because I think skills can be taught, but attitude is something that is very inherent. And I always looked for people with the right attitude, people who say, I can do it, I will never give up, and things like that. So in doing that, I did get some very motivated people who, of course, later I sent them to Ahmedabad to do an executive MBA. Because once you know the person has a right attitude, like I said, skills can always be acquired. And in connecting with my teams, of course, one of the major which was the major objective, to keep them motivated, to build a trust. I think in a corporate world, it's important to build trust with your people. So in order to build trust, of course, there has to be, it's an ongoing process. Have meetings with them, regular meetings, a clear communication to them as to what you expect from them. Constant meeting with them and telling them or reiterating the objective with which we started the organization. It is important to revisit the reason, the purpose with which you started the organization. Obviously, it was not just to make money, but there is something more to it. And that reiteration also helps keep them in line and connected to you. I've always told my teams that even if you fail, don't worry. Just take the decision. Not taking a decision is not a good idea. Taking a decision and failing is always better. What is important is how you pick yourself up and get back on track. And through these kinds of exercises, spending time with them, I have connected with the teams regularly and built a kind of trust with them. And of course, what is very important is to have women members of the team, just for diversity. And my spiel to them always was my own example, that women as leaders, in the old description of what good leaders are, is, like I said, aggressive and power wielding. But fortunately, with globalization, the definition of leadership is changing. Today, definition of leadership also includes compassion and collaboration, which women are very adept with. But I think at the end of the day, what I have learned is that if you want to be a good leader, you must encompass the best of both worlds. You must be both sides. You must go against your grain and also remain instinctive.
Thank you.